Never dispose of the pen, I'm at it again, we close to the end. The older I get, emphatic I am. They try to pretend, they try to be friend, wreak havoc instead. Look at the trends, can't comprehend my dramatic ascent. I'm heavenly sent, they try to condemn. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the man. Yeah, different vision but the same goes. Big collision off the main road, that's the beaten path where my brain goes. Fuck the devil's wrath off my halo. Hella stones, no Thanos. Hella gold, no rainbow. This is hella genius in my brain lobes. Hella gross as far as revenue goes. Bought me a net for these Benjamins though. You not a threat, you an enemy though. Broke me a sweat, killing enemies slow. Body offset, all these feminine flows. Hardly upset, but you testing me though. All of these stats are depressingly low. Why your girl think I'm a specimen though? Drones and them perks is my medicine though. There's no comparison, black in America, little too arrogant. I just embarrass y'all, niggas irrelevant. I shouldn't mention it, that's royal etiquette. Out of my element, way too intelligent. Grab you a therapist, send in my sentiments. Neck full of sediments, cop me a Tesla and skirt through the valley. Drop the investment in Silicon Valley. All this cake, but I'm missing the patty. Might mess around and just move to Miami. Drums are so loud that they breaking the chassis. King of the grass like I'm Lionel Messi. I am not crass, but my mental is messy. Mud in my glass while my pencil is sketching. All these rappers, but no one impressed me. Most of them actors at labels is testing.
What's up, fam? Make sure you, jump on in. Oh, the Sick Beats. That's King Darius. That's my boy. You can check him out on SoundCloud. All the details are in the bottom corner. What's going on, fam? Got my heathen Swole. Your heathen Swole. We're going to play this one again. All right, everyone, come on through the door. We're going to get 890 underway in just a couple moments. Just a couple moments. Yep.
Never dispose of the pen, I'm at it again, we close to the end. The older I get, emphatic I am. They try to pretend, they try to be friend, wreak havoc instead. Look at the trends, can't comprehend my dramatic ascent. I'm heavenly sent, they try to condemn. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the man. Yeah, different vision but the same goes. Big collision off the main road, that's the beaten path where my brain goes. Fuck the devil's wrath off my halo. Hella stones, no Thanos. Hella gold, no rainbow. This is hella genius in my brain lobes. Hella gross as far as revenue goes. Bought me a net for these Benjamins though. You not a threat, you an enemy though. Broke me a sweat, killing enemies slow. Body offset, all these feminine flows.
Welcome.
You testing me though. All of these stats are depressingly low. Why your girl think I'm a specimen though? Drones and them perks is my medicine though. There's no comparison, black in America, little too arrogant. I just embarrass y'all, niggas irrelevant. I shouldn't mention it, that's royal etiquette. Out of my element, way too intelligent. Grab you a therapist, send in my sentiments. Neck full of sediments, cop me a Tesla and skirt through the valley. Drop the investment in Silicon Valley. All this cake, but I'm missing the patty. Might mess around and just move to Miami. Drums are so loud that they breaking the chassis. King of the grass like I'm Lionel Messi. I am not crass, but my mental is messy.
Looking forward to this one.
All these rappers, but no one
looking forward to it. I'm excited.
I'm excited to do this.
I'm excited to come in here and say hello and talk about the fitness with you. Yeah, it's time to do it. Pow, pow. Oh, damn, David. Good, look at you, man. 42 pounds, you beast. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Finish up the bullshit.
The sun is shining. The birds are chirping. The bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing. Testing, testing, testicles. Testicles, you heard me, testicles. Welcome, everyone, to episode 890 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beercast, broadcast, gangcast, mancast, pimpcast, sleevescast, slaycast, and taintcast, as always, in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. And we got Papa Swolio in the corner. We got everyone joining live, and it is a beautiful Saturday. Hello, welcome to the Swole podcast. Welcome to the Swole Show. Welcome to Papa Swolio, where he pinches his nips and strokes his beard for an hour. That's all I do. That's all I'm going to do is just stroke. Well, that's weird. Hello from Austria. Hello, Austria. Hello, how you doing? I'm from Austria too. I am from a little town called Graz. Yes, I was born there, and I got bombed. And I became Mr. Olympia and the governor. Yeah, that's crazy that I can pull that out that quickly. It's so weird. Well, welcome, Austria. Welcome watching live on Instagram, Facebook. Those of you that are listening to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere. Remember, you can subscribe to the podcast. Let me rephrase that. You should subscribe to the podcast if you're not already, and you can find it everywhere. Go to swolenormousx.com, click on podcast in the main menu, and you can choose your app of choice, and you can listen to Papa Swole. You'll get alerts when the new podcast goes live. If you're unable to watch live, let's see, a couple other things. Remember, Daily Swole Club. If you are not a member of the Daily Swole Club, I will be doing some links and some swipe up stuff. I'll probably send out an email for those that are not yet signed up, but just go to my Facebook page and send me a message, and you'll get on the private messenger list, and you'll get free updates and little knowledge nukes and training strategies, workouts, and stuff like that throughout the week in your messenger inbox on Facebook. So that'd be super cool. And that's where everyone's coming in. You get notified when I go live. I know a lot of people don't get their notifications, so I hack the notifications. I hack the notifications because everyone's telling me, I don't know when you go live. I missed it. Oh, I got a notification half an hour late. Well, I'm not letting Zuckerberg take my thunder. I go above. I supersede Facebook with notifications. I send out the notifications. I send out the notes. A real Austrian accent. Nice. Cool. I nailed it. All about consistency, knowledge nukes dropping. Jennifer on Facebook needing this today. I just did this today and had a mental battle since she and I had been training the same amount of time. Ooh, everyone on Facebook send some love Jennifer's way. Jennifer needs not just a hug, but she needs a slap on the ass to get her shit in gear. So everyone send Jennifer an emoji slap in a good way, a positive slap for Jennifer. Eric on Instagram, getting my pump on now. I'll make sure to listen to the podcast later. Keep it up, Swole. I shall do just that. Thank you, Eric. You the man. Thanks, Dennis. Likewise, you are also a man, and the man, might I add. Oh, I'm feeling good today. It sounds like everyone had their coffee. Everyone's in the up and up. I just want to send out some, not condolences. I want to send out my concerns and my flexing, my biceps to anyone that might have been affected by the hurricane. Michael, I don't know if anyone watching is in that area, and I do want to send a little note, a message to everyone that was concerned, because I did get a lot of messages from people, because you know that I'm in Florida. I am actually down by the Miami area, so it missed us completely. But my concerns, and I hope everyone's doing well. If you are a follower, anyone, of course, but if you're a follower of the podcast and you were in the wake of that hurricane, which is just brutal, we're getting crushed a lot lately with hurricanes, and we were supposed to get hit with one in my area last year, but it went west a little bit and it hit Tampa more. So we were like slated. A lot of you remember that. I was doing the podcast on the road as I drove up and escaped the hurricane. I went to my friend's place in Ohio last year when we had that massive hurricane scare, I guess. I mean, some people got hit, but it's that season, and it seems like it always ramps up towards the end of the summer. So I think hurricane season still goes until November, if I'm not mistaken. I think it goes until November at some point, but you never know. Things are shifting. And it hasn't been as cold down here lately. It's definitely getting warmer, but I've heard some people say it's going to be the coldest winter ever. I don't know. What the fuck am I? I'm not a meteorologist. All I know is my area in Florida has not gotten hit by a hurricane, knock on wood, for like 13 years. So unfortunately, we're overdue. It's coming. So all I'm going to do is I'll stand outside and I'll flex and I'll just scare it away. Hurricanes don't want anything to do with Papa Swole, Quite the opposite. I'll get swept away in like 3 seconds, and that'll be the end of the Daily Swole. I won't do that to you. I promise. I won't do that to you. So, delicious. The coffee is always good, even in the afternoon. So first off, rep where you're watching from. Where are you watching from? Are you pooping while you're watching? Use emojis to describe what you're doing right now. If you're working out, if you're pooping, if you're exercising, where are you from? Float a flag. Where are you watching from? We got someone from Austria. We got people from all over the country. I know that. And this is going to be a great episode. that brings everyone together. Brings everyone together. We can all hold hands in one big circle and sing fucking Kumbaya and make some sick gains. This episode is all about comparing yourself. I do get a lot of messages, as you all know. I get thousands of them, and I try to answer them as quickly as possible on all the platforms, whether it's Snapchat, whether it's Instagram, DMs, emails, live chat on my website, Facebook messages. I try to get them all answered as soon as I can. So those of you that might wait for a day, I appreciate that. And I get a lot of people wanting results faster. Big surprise. We always talk about results and how you have to temper your excitement and temper your emotion in order to settle in for the long haul, in order to lock yourself in for the long term. You're preparing yourself for a war, not just a battle, but for the overall war. You're preparing yourself for a series of wars. You're preparing yourself mentally for the ups and downs that are guaranteed to come. Guaranteed to come. It's not all going to be wonderful. It's not all going to be bad. So there's good news on all accounts. If you're struggling right now, it doesn't mean it's always going to be a struggle. If you're doing great right now, it's certainly not always going to be going great for you. And that's something you have to be prepared for mentally for. It doesn't mean be pessimistic. It just means enjoy it. It means understand that there are those ups and downs. If you ever need to kind of see a visual of this, just go look at the stock market. Go click on the stock market, like the overall, go click on a big index and look at the way it's gone over the past 20 years or 30 years, right? You'll see crashes, you'll see little dips, but overall it goes up. And that's how things usually work when you're consistent, when you're constantly putting in effort, when you don't let anything get in your way. You don't allow excuses to come into your little sphere. When you're focused on your own shit, you're not worrying about what other people are doing. And thus the title of this episode. You will get those dips. You'll get those crashes. I'm sure a lot of you have had those. I mean, think about it. Think about a moment in your life where you have had one of those stock market crashes, where the market crashed in your life, or the market crashed in your fitness. The market crashed and everything went to shit, literally. Literally, everything went to crap. You gained weight, maybe you fell off, maybe you hurt yourself. The market crashed, but then you kept on going and the market came back. And now you're better now than you were when you actually got injured or when you had that setback. So it helps to compare yourself. But what are you comparing yourself to? What are you comparing yourself to? Are you comparing yourself to other people and their journey and what they are doing? Or are you comparing yourself to where you once were? And when I say the word compare, it's not, okay, are you better or are you worse? It's kind of looking back and appreciating the fact that, oh, I remember my mindset when I was in this situation. I remember what I was thinking when shit was going sideways. I remember what my mental state was 5 years ago when I got hurt and I fell off. If you remember where your mindset was at and how you thought, fuck, this is brutal. How am I going to overcome this? And then you look back at it 5 years later and you realize, oh, I just overcame it. I just kept on going. And now it seems like a distant memory. It always seems worse in the moment. Whatever the problem is, it's always going to seem worse when you're fucking stuck in the middle of it. It's like a bad relationship. It's like a bad movie. You're watching a bad movie, like this movie fucking blows. In 3 months, you're not going to remember it at all, right? You're in a bad relationship and you think you can work it out and things are going to be blah, 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 okay. And then in 5 years, you look back, you're like, if I could smack myself in the fucking head for being with that person, what the fuck was I thinking? How low of self-esteem did I have? How little did I value my time and my own well-being by being with that other person and sacrificing my own personal quality of life, so to speak, right? So you always have perspective when you leave that situation. When you're in the middle of the shit, you don't have that perspective, so it seems overwhelming. And that's what is going to happen whenever you have those dips in the stock market, whenever you have those dips when you have that injury, when you gain that weight, when you go on that cheating binge and you fucking lose control. It happens, man and woman. It happens. It happens. You're not going to be perfect. If you try to be perfect, it's going to be harder to even make progress because you're always comparing yourself to this unattainable level. I think it's important to compare yourself to where you were. I think it's important to compare yourself, to look back and reflect, compare yourself in a reflective manner to where you were relative to where you are now. And then you can kind of copy that process and realize, oh, in 5 years from now, I'm going to look back on today and be like, what the fuck was I thinking? And then in 5 years from then, I'm going to look back and be like, what the fuck was I thinking? And then in 5 years, I'm going to look back and be like, man, what was I doing 15 years ago? What was I doing 5 years ago? And that's how you grow. That's how you learn. You're going to be a different person. I'm a totally different person with knowledge. I'm a different person with personality in many respects than I was 10 or 15 years ago. My approach to fitness is totally different than it was when I was 20 years old. It's totally different than 5 years ago. You're going to shift your interest. You're going to shift what's most important. You're going to have to shift your mentality and your training output based on where you are right now. And what you wanted 5 years ago might not be what you want today in terms of your training, in terms of your fitness. You might not prioritize it as much. You might have wanted to get as big as possible, and now you just don't care about getting huge anymore. That's not attractive to you. You're not trying to put on that much size. You're not trying to get as shredded. You just don't care anymore. And it's important to recognize that. And I think a lot of you are trying to get shredded because other people are shredded. You're trying to get six-pack and shredded abs because other people have shredded abs, and you think that's what fitness is. You think that's what, okay, if I get shredded abs, I will be fit, and people will think I'm fit, and I will look good. And that's subjective. Not everyone likes shredded six-pack abs. Not everyone likes that. Not everyone likes that. Not everyone likes that. Ladies, not all ladies, from a guy's perspective, not all women like that look. Not everyone likes that kind of like lean, shredded look. Some people like more of a full, softer physique, not like overweight per se, but, more of a filled out physique, not like, shredded, little skinny, slender. Not everyone likes that. So that's very subjective, but, you're going to need to find your own journey. So when you compare yourself to other people, that's where it gets really iffy, because what matters to them isn't going to matter to you. It doesn't have to matter to you. What matters to someone else doesn't have to drive what you do, because you don't know that other person. You don't know what drives them. You don't know what is keeping them from being satisfied. And just to follow them, you're going to follow in suit and just go after these numbers, right? It's like the scale. You keep on trying to get to this number on the scale. You keep trying to lose 5 pounds or gain 5 pounds or lose 20 pounds or gain 20 pounds. You're chasing numbers, and that is often very, very discouraging because it ends. You can't constantly lose. You can't constantly gain. So what comes next? It's all about working on the inside. That's why meditation and yoga is so important and so valuable for the long term, because it'll help balance out your mind when you come to these dips. Okay? I do think it's important to compare yourself. I think it's important to reflect in the sense of that comparison. It's you versus you. It's you versus you. However, you can't beat yourself up just because you have had victories before. That's another issue with people comparing themselves. It's easy to say, compare yourself, it's you versus you. Well, then you're always comparing yourself against your highest points. Because you had success in the past, maybe you had a period of massive weight loss in the past, or you had a period of massive muscle gain, or you just had a real good run for several months where you made a lot of progress, and you haven't seen that since. It's very hard to compare yourself to that because that might not ever happen again in that quantity or in that extreme situation, right? You might not have a windfall of positive results in a window like that ever again. So then you're always comparing yourself to this one point in time, and you're never good enough, right? You're never going to be good enough to match that moment in time. And you shouldn't be. You don't have to be as good as that. You did it already. You had that win. Now it's a different situation. Now you are at a different point in your life. Your victories are going to look different. Your success is going to look different. In the past, I wanted to gain muscle and get stronger all the time. That's what I wanted to do. Now, I'm really excited when I make it to the gym. I'm really excited when I get to the gym and do a workout. Literally, I just want to get there. I just want to be consistent. I focus 100% on being consistent. I'm very excited when I get my meditation done for the day. I'm very excited when I do a nice little yoga flow and I do my mobility work. I'm very excited when I accomplish the things. I don't even look too much past that as to What was the quality of that workout? What was the quality of that yoga? I don't even worry that much about it, honestly, at this point. It's just too many things to focus on. It's the wrong things. Because even if you focus on having a great yoga session or a great workout every day, you're still not going to have a great workout every day. You're not going to have a great yoga session every day. I feel like that's a little bit higher than you need to be focusing on. You need to be focused on getting it done, period. Setting aside the time, making it happen, and then allowing what will happen in that moment, in that time that you allotted. Let it happen. Chances are you're going to have great workouts because you're not going to be pressuring yourself to have the best workout ever. You're not going to be pressuring yourself to get a PR, to get a record, and to have this mind-blowing pump or this mind-blowing session, because that's like competing in the Super Bowl every single day. It's too high intensity. It's too high pressure for yourself mentally and physically. You have to remember that it is those series of battles, those series of wars for the rest of your life that you need to prepare for. So as much as you need to crush it now, you need to crush it now with the mindset and the awareness that this is your body for life. This is the body that you're going to have in 30 years. When I see people doing ridiculous exercise or terrible form on deadlifts or going super heavy when they're later in their years, this is your only body. This is the only body that you have for your life. You can have some surgeries, you can get some replacements, but it ain't the same as the original. And if you're beating the shit out of yourself in the short term, you're going to be fucked at the end of it. And I don't think you should be sacrificing yourself. I don't think you should be damaging yourself in the short term. I don't think that's necessary to get results and to get the results you need. You know, when we have all this ability to look and to see what other people are doing on social media, we literally can pick up our phone, pick up our little square or little technological square and see what other people are doing in the world. And if you go on Instagram and you compare yourself, it's all people posting the best pictures they possibly can, right? They're edited. They're taking one video. They took 10 videos. They edited. They put music behind it. And they're always smiling in their pictures. You know, shit is not all fucking rainbows and unicorns. There's a lot of downsides. And there's a lot of dips during the day. I have a lot of dips. I wouldn't say I get like depressed, but I have, there are a lot of times during the day and during the week where things just feel like they're not moving, or I just get discouraged, or I get, I feel like I'm stuck in a rut and I can't figure out how to get out of it. Whether it is something that I'm creating content for or just my own personal fitness, you're going to have those moments. So that's why it's important to look and compare yourself and to reflect on where you were before. It helps you realize, oh, this is like I just stepped on a pebble. This is just a little bump in the road and it's going to happen. And that's why I'm always pushing the meditation, because it helps you recognize when those thoughts and feelings occur to put them in their place. Like, okay, this is a thought, this is a feeling. Cool. And that's all it is. It's not a reality. It's not something that's happening. It's some kind of chemical balance in my brain for whatever reason, whether it's food, whether it's the weather, whether it's sleep. I don't know. You're having this feeling now, observe it, recognize it, and then let it fucking go, because it's not real. When you dwell on those feelings, when you dwell on those sluggish moments, when you dwell on those negative periods, that's when they manifest. And then you just fucking like crawl in there, curl yourself up, and then you let them eat you alive. You have to keep on moving forward. So it's important to recognize those feelings when they occur, because they're going to occur. You're going to have those points. You're going to have those points where you feel like you're the only one, and it's just not true. It's just not true. Everyone's having that all the time. No one's happy all the time. No one's smiling all the time. No one's joyous all the time. No one's positive all the time. And we get that impression with social media. We get that impression that, if there's something that inspires you, that it's always up. People say like, man, how are you motivated and inspired all the time? I'm not. And I say that right away. I'm like, I'm not all the time. I just know how to overcome it and keep on moving forward and recognize it for what it is. I don't feel like training all the time. I don't feel like doing the show all the time. I always end up enjoying it, but it's still part of my day. It's part of my schedule. It's things that I have to do. It could seem overwhelming when I got to do this and I want to do that. And I also want to work out and I want to eat this and I want to create that video. I want to edit this. It's very time consuming. A lot of you have responsibilities likewise that are time consuming in a different way. You have children, you have one job, you have two jobs, you have to fix the roof on your house, or you have, yard work that you're doing. I don't have a yard right now, so I'm not mowing the lawn, but I have responsibilities outside of my business and outside of my fitness. And it's hard sometimes to get it all done because there's only 24 hours in the day. And that's just what I wanted to deliver on a Saturday. I think it's easy to get overwhelmed. I think it's easy to get overwhelmed because we are overwhelmed just by how much content is thrown into our faces with the cell phones. We expose ourselves, and we are exposed to a lot of different things that really push us down the wrong direction in terms of how we need to be thinking about our own personal growth. I think it helps to compare yourself to you, but in a reflective manner. If you look at where you were, where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish, and then realize that there are going to be ups and downs, there are going to be plateaus, it's guaranteed, then you're not so bummed out when they actually occur. You recognize them for what they are, you understand their place in your progress in your life, and then you move on. And it also helps to know that everyone's going through the same shit. Everyone has those moments. Everyone has those down periods. Everyone has those up periods. Every single person. No one's happy all the time. No one's happy all the time. And I'm not going to make light of anything, but that's why you see people that are super famous, tons of money, and they're killing themselves. People are committing suicide all the time that are, by all means, by all standards that you would look at, successful. They have money. They have fame. They have what most people would say, oh, this is what I want. And they're not happy. Like, happiness does not come from money. Anyone that has money can tell you that. When you don't have money, you don't have that perspective. It can make things easier. You don't have to stress about money-related things. But usually when people make more money, they buy more shit, and they have the same stress that people have when they don't have money. You know, when you eliminate money as a factor, what makes you happy? What makes you tick? What do you want to do? And if you're following things and you're looking at it with a different perspective, you know, with your fitness, regardless of how much money you make, and if you're following your path and you're following your training with your goal in mind, what do you want? If you don't want fucking abs, then don't be chasing abs. If you want to do cardio stuff, then fucking focus on cardio. If you want to do yoga a lot, then do yoga. You have to do you. And you can't compare yourself to other people. You can't, because there's nothing to compare. You're a completely different person than anyone else. So there's nothing to compare to. All right. When you compare, a jaguar and an elephant, like, how do you compare those? Oh, one lives in this desert and one lives in this flat area and this one lives in the north and this one's really big and this one's really small. You can't compare them. You're just talking about two separate things. Same thing with people. You can't compare people. Everyone's got different memories. Everyone's got different genetic coding. Everyone has different desires. Everyone has different body structures. Everyone has different experience. Everyone lives in. You're completely different than the next person. You cannot compare yourself. That's another issue when it comes to scientific studies. Everyone's so fucking unique. Just because we're humans, we're so unique, you can't really make any blanket statements with nutrition or training. It's very hard because what you want out of your life, what will make you happy, is not have anything to do with training style. It does not have anything to do with, being leaner. Those are like societal standards and what people normally look at as, oh, that's sexy. That's not necessarily you. And you don't have to force it. You don't have to force that kind of like belief system on yourself. So whether it comes to be your physical appearance, but your emotional appearance, how you are inside, what you're trying to accomplish, where you are now compared to where you were, that's the most important thing. Anytime, and I'll tell you the truth, anytime that I get kind of like low mood where I'm like, oh, kind of bummed out or stressed or kind of overwhelmed, I think back, all right, hold on, Papa Swole. Let me see where I am now. Just look at like, okay, what I'm doing now versus what I was doing 3 years ago or 2 years ago. Where are things now in my life, in my business, in my fitness compared to 2 years ago or 3 years ago? What do I have? Like from everything, from relationships to just what is my situation now compared to where I was 2 years ago? It's night and day with what I've created. It's night and day for what I've done, for my own personal triumphs, ups and downs. And there are always going to be those downs. But when I look back at what I have done for me and where I am mentally, physically, everything compared, all of a sudden I'm back. I'm like, what am I even thinking about? What am I down about for a moment? It's like, oh my God, it's a huge difference. It's a massive difference. And like anything else, progress is not linear. You don't just keep on going up. You're going to hit those rocky points. There's going to be those pitfalls. There's going to be those meteoric rises, maybe far and few between. But there's going to be that steady incremental progress if you don't quit and if you don't give up. And that's the one true thing that we can all agree on. If you give up, you get nothing. If you quit, you get nothing. If you stop, you get nothing. And that's not something that I wish for anyone. If you stop, then you're not going to find any kind of peace or happiness or your fitness. If you stop, there's nothing. That's for sure. When you stop, there's nothing. There's no results. There's no benefit. There's no feedback. There's no comparing because there's nothing to compare it to. As long as you just don't quit. If you want what you say you want, then there's nothing standing in your way. Just keep on going after it. It's so cliche, it's fucking annoying. But when you actually live it and you do it, you realize, oh shit, that's why it's a cliche, because it's so fucking true. Cliches and stereotypes are usually true because that's usually how they become what they are. That's usually how they become cliches and stereotypes because they're fucking true. But again, not true for everyone. Whitney, I feel overstimulated sometimes. You and me both. There's so many things to be stimulated by. Amanda, I don't compare myself to others. They are them and I am me. I compare myself to how I was. Very smart. I agree. Frank, I was going to take a rest day today and now I'm not. Oh, I got you off the toilet, didn't I? Michael, that is how I compare myself is to them. They make me push myself. Your fellow Marines and recruits. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad to compare yourself. I mean, look, comparing yourself to others is different than challenging yourself with others. It's different than competition. Now, when you compare yourself, you should compare yourself to where you were. Competition is different. That can drive you to be better. That can drive you to push yourself harder. But you shouldn't compare your success and your happiness based on anyone else. So comparing in competition is different. Competition is great. But really, when it's you versus you, there's no competition. It's just you moving forward. There really isn't any competition in life. We tend to look for competition, don't we? We tend to try to measure our success or one person's life versus someone else's. And it's really so fleeting, and no one's going to remember anyone after we die anyway. Very few people ever get remembered, really. So when you think about how fleeting everything is and how minuscule and insignificant most things are in one individual's life, like when they pass away, it's like, all right, they're erased and then you move on. And no one remembers that one bad day that they had. And it's like, most of the shit that happens in our day doesn't fucking matter. Most. Yeah, Aaron, that's a good way to think about it. I only compare myself to myself. I do use others for inspiration. Well, using others for inspiration, competition, that's fine. It's just different when you compare yourself. Because when you compare yourself, you're comparing your own value, right? Your success or your value as a person, where you are in your life. And then when you compare yourself to others like that, it's like, that gets really sketchy. Hillary, I can go to the gym or stay home crying because I don't have Kim Kardashian's ass. Well, what you can do is save up money and go to her doctor and because that's where she got it from. That shit ain't real. I wouldn't want Kim Kardashian's ass. I don't want anyone injecting shit into my glutes. Just squat, bruh. Squat. Yeah, you can't compare yourself physically to other people. You can't compare yourself emotionally to other people. And I'm telling you, when you get into practicing meditation and more yoga and more self-awareness with your physical body, with your training, you just don't care about what other people are doing. You really give such less of a fuck. Literally, you don't give a fuck what other people are doing because you are so calm inside with what you're doing and where you are. I encourage that for everyone. And I'm amped up. Like, I want to do legs today. I'm going to do a leg workout today, but I want to do some yoga. I want to do some stretching. I'm going to do my meditation, do some stretching a little bit before I do my leg work. I'm going to open some stuff up. And I'm excited about that today. Marines love Papa Swole, and Papa Swolio loves Marines. Semper Fi, motherfuckers. Thank you for your service, Marines. Anyone that's watching Papa Swolio, you can't see the other flag. I got another flag over here. I got dose flags. There's also a mess over here too. So, yeah. I miss my old setup sometimes. If you watch some of the older episodes, you see both flags right behind me. I had the angry eagles and stuff like that. That was cool. You know, my next place, I'll probably set it up a little bit more like a multimedia center. This is kind of like makeshift, but it's all good. It's all good. So I think this is what everyone needed today. I feel like it's always good on a Saturday to kind of shift gears, because if we talk more the mental game, that's what's going to keep everyone consistent. Sitting here talking about bench pressing and, you know, doing bicep curls, that's cool. That's cool, and we do that as well. But if you have your head screwed on straight, it'll keep you more consistent, and it'll keep you on point for sure. So make sure that you reflect a little bit today. So take the rest of the day, or take wherever part of the day, wherever part of the world you're in, take a moment today after this episode to reflect where you are now, and reflect on, in comparison to where you were, let's say 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago. Pick a time frame, at least a year or two, and compare yourself. Maybe you weren't exercising at all. Maybe you were eating a lot of bad foods that you thought were healthy. Now, all of a sudden, you're not eating any of those foods. You're on a quality program. You're doing meditation, doing yoga. Think about how far you've come from a psychological standpoint in your approach to your life and your approach to your fitness. Think about where you are now compared to where you were 1 year ago, 2 years ago. So I want you to take a couple moments. Don't rush this, but do that, and then drop in the comments below. Send me a message if there's anything mind-blowing. I'd love to share with the community. If you send me a DM on Instagram and it's something really fire, I'd love to take a snapshot of it and share it in my story. I don't necessarily have to use screen names. I blur a lot of that out. But a lot of these messages are very popular, are very powerful, and are great for everyone to hear. So if you have any amazing transformation, and like I said, it's not about 100 pounds lost, where your mindset is, where you are now, emotionally and physically. You can use both, either or, and in combination to where you were about a year or two ago. And if you have something groundbreaking, you have like a real major shift that has impacted you greatly, feel free to reach out, drop in the comments below, send me a message. I'd love to hear about it. And for everyone else, I hope you have a great weekend. I will see you tomorrow, Sunday, for episode 891. We're moving in on the week. I got a lot of stuff I want to try to get done, a lot of content I want to get done for Swolenormous X. Those of you that are new to Swolenormous X, new members that got into the Facebook group, check out the latest posts and the announcements at the top of the page in the Swolenormous X live group, the private group on Facebook. Check that out. Definitely wrapping up a couple special offers. There's a link in the profile. Link in the post description on Facebook for the 3-month special. Also, there's a special going on for people that listen to the podcast that will preempt this podcast. So if you're interested in that one, you're gonna have to go listen to the podcast and find out what that is. But this is gonna be a great theme that you're gonna want to come back to. If you need to re-listen to this episode, do so. Share this with someone that needs a little pick-me-up. Share this with someone that compares themselves to other people, that gets frustrated, that gets down on themselves because they are not matching up or meeting up someone else's standards. Fuck that shit. Share this with someone that needs to hear it. Share this with someone that really can benefit from a mental shift, a different approach to their training. Remember, it is a lifelong practice. It is a series of wars. It is a series of ups and downs. So it's important to be able to manage that, because it's going to happen. And I will see everyone tomorrow for episode 891 of the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gangcast, Mancast, Pimpcast, and Sleevescast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. Thanks for joining me for 890. I'll see you tomorrow for 891 of the Sleeves. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce, Magoose. Papa Swolio. Out.